I don't want to do either of those things.
Yeah, but if you had to, though.
We set the scene. We have a choice. We must decide on the correct answers. I'm Kyle.
And I am Nathan.
And this is If You Had To, though. Welcome back, Nathan. We are back on the air.
We are back traveling through the airwaves, buzzing directly into your ears, through your brain canals, infecting your minds.
Like the parasites that we are, you lucky people.
We shall live on inside your thoughts and your dreams.
Beautiful. So we should probably address the elephant in the room, Nathan.
Hey, leave Peanuts alone.
Yes, poor Peanuts.
Mr. Peanuts, sorry.
He's just sat behind you with the most deadly stare in his eyes.
He's just jealous, Mr. Peanuts, because I like you more than I like him.
He looks like he wants to. Every time you turn away from him, he gets a knife out and drags it across his throat threateningly.
That's quite impressive for an elephant.
I know. I don't know where these fingers just
No one
materialize.
trained him to do that. He doesn't need a finger. He uses his trunk.
Oh, of course he does. I was imagining a hoof, and I was like, you can't bend a hoof. What does an elephant have?
They do have feet and I guess their hooves, but they can't bring their legs up very high. They've got very stumpy legs.
Can you imagine? You know, the stumpy
Have you
bit.
never seen an elephant in a cartoon? They pick up everything with their trunks.
I know, I'm so dumb. I was literally imagining that stupid big fat hoof somehow bending around a knife and holding the handle.
That's objectively wrong.
It is completely wrong. Of course he would do everything with his trunk. Like, why wouldn't you if you have that amazing tool on your face?
If I had a trunk, I'd be using it to do everything, absolutely.
I
do mean everything. I don't know what I meant by that insinuation, but yeah.
We'll let the listeners read into that how they will. So the premise of this show... Oh, I was going to say about the elephant in the room, but no, never mind.
But then we spoke about the elephant in the room for a while. I think by the elephant in the room, I believe you're referring to the fact that we have not been in the airwaves and not been infecting people's brains for quite a while.
No.
It may have actually given our audience a chance to recover from the nightmares.
Yeah, it did mean that we didn't get to do our Christmas special.
No.
Which I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast is reeling with anger at not.
I'm sure they are very upset, but just to set everyone's minds at peace, I was visited, of course, by the Krampus. He took my nutsack away.
He did. He was quite lenient this year, then.
Yes, yeah, quite lenient. It's actually an improvement. I can sit down so much easier. I don't have to shuffle or reposition myself. You can't see this, lovely listeners, but I'm doing the squats. I've got one leg over my one head. I've only
one leg over
head.
one head.
I don't know why I said that.
Do you have a secret head, Nathan? Come on, be honest.
I'll never tell.
Oh well, I mean that is. If that's not incentive to listen on to the rest of this podcast, then...
you may or may not find out about my second secret head.
Incentive right there. So the premise of this show is that we create scenarios for each other, resulting in two possible outcomes. We'll discuss each outcome's pros and cons and decide definitively on the correct answers.
Yes. I'm sure everyone at home has been missing our sage wisdom at telling them how to deal with these everyday problems, and for everyone out there that has been eaten by rabid baboons or accidentally destroyed the universe or crushed by a cow, we can only apologize, but we are back and we will guide you through life's most difficult questions.
Yes, like the messiahs that we are.
That we are. Well, at least one of us is the lollipop king.
Yes.
I, of course, as the Lollipop King, I am the Messiah.
Yes, you are indeed.
And one day you will all bow before me. You will all stop and go when I tell you to.
Fantastic. Now, Nathan, shall we tell the audience about what's happened to you this week?
If we have to.
Well,
though.
that is the name of the show, yes. I believe that
Did you see what I did there?
I did
Hey?
indeed. You snuck it in there, and
Hmm.
everyone knows that the best shows say the name of the show in the
And
the
everyone knows
dialogue.
that the best jokes are the jokes that are pointed out and explained immediately after you make them.
Yeah. Can you explain in a little more detail what you did there?
Well, I said if we had to,
Yeah.
whereas the show is called If You Had To, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of twisting the words around and just changing the word you to we and
Sort
taking away
of
the though.
sort of what they call in the industry a callback. Yes,
Yes, indeed. That's because we are industry professionals.
we are indeed.
Is it a callback or breaking the fourth wall or
Breaking the fourth wall would be me turning away from Nathan to you, the audience, saying, "Can you believe this guy?" Turning back, talking to Nathan as if he never heard that, even though he's sitting right there.
I'm surprised that the audience is in your room beside you. This being a podcast, they would not see you turn around and say, "Can you believe this guy?"
Yeah, I
But
even did the thumb up to thumb at you. Can you believe this guy? And
don't thumb
they
at
can't.
me. I'll thumb you, mate. I'll
That
thumb you
sounds.
good.
That's like the most mild threat. I'm gonna thumb you.
That's
You,
about my
you,
level of threatening people.
excuse me. You're going to what? Did you say? Gonna
Yeah,
thumb you?
I'm not quite prepared to use the whole fist. So I'm just gonna thumb you.
What does thumbing someone involve?
I don't want to explain.
Okay, we'll move on.
Yes,
As I
legally, I don't
was
think we can explain.
as I was saying, Nathan, we're going to explain to everyone what's happened to you this week. Now, you were sitting around in your underwear,
Sounds like me.
living your best life, eating twiglets from your belly button.
Perfect bowl. It's what I call the bowl of gods.
Yeah, how many can you actually fit in there?
A gentleman never tells.
Ah, but a lady always does.
Yes.
A gentleman never tells.
All
but
our lady listeners, email us and tell us how many twiglets you can fit in your belly buttons. And send pictures.
That is Nathan's biggest fetish: seeing a woman pull twiglets from her belly button. There's nothing that turns him on more.
Yes, but what were we talking about? I've forgotten everything.
You were just hanging around doing your usual when suddenly there was like a crack of lightning and a portal, a swirling purple portal, appeared before you.
Huh.
Smoke billowed around, and like sci-fi lights started to flash everywhere. It was very futuristic and cool.
Nice. I put on my sunglasses.
You did put on your sunglasses. You're still just in your underwear, and now you have sunglasses on too.
Yeah. I'm a real cool dude. I put on my sunglasses and go, groovy.
And out of the portal stepped a robot.
A robot. Ooh. Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Hello, Nathan. I am a robot from the future.
A robot from the future. Well, I obviously know the answer, but why don't you explain to everyone what this robot from the future looked like, Carl?
What the robot from the future looked like? Well, he was wearing sunglasses just like you.
Of course.
Was completely naked otherwise, because only sunglasses can travel
That
through
is,
time.
as you'd understand if you read Stephen Hawking's book, of The Theory of Everything. Is that the name of his book? I don't know. I've read it.
That was the name of the film, wasn't it?
That was the name of the film.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking had a book.
Have you
Google
watched the
Stephen
film?
Hawking book and you'll find his book.
Have you watched The Theory of Everything?
I haven't. I haven't actually. I haven't read all of the book, but I read part of it. But I can only remember the name of the film.
You opened the book, you mean? You read the title, The Theory of Everything, put a bookmark in it, and then put it on your bedside and was like, yeah, I'm reading that. Yeah, I've read some of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I can tell people I've read the book because I read the cover.
Just to try and make you seem smarter. You're like, yeah, I've started reading The Theory of Everything.
That's not even what it's called.
Yeah, people look at you like, what, you've read the DVD case? You think you've got a book by the side of your bed, but it's just a DVD.
I did think it was quite reflective for a book, yes. But as I was saying, if you've studied quantum mechanics, you would understand that only sunglasses can travel through time.
Yes, exactly. And this buff, muscular robot, he looks at you and he says, Nathan, I have travelled. I don't know what accent I'm trying to do here. It's a combination of many different things going on in my head.
You're obviously doing robot accent.
Robot accent, yeah, exactly. It can't be in any way offensive because it is what a robot sounds like. And
yes,
unless you're a robot out there...
It will be offensive in 5 years when the first robot is built and it then comes to kill you as the first victim.
I mean, hopefully by then this podcast will be buried under many other podcasts.
Yes, that's how podcasts work. We'll be buried under other podcasts.
I mean, if someone comes to look at our podcast for the first time, they're going to go to the newest one. They're not going to go to episode 50, are they?
Oh, you meant buried under new episodes of our podcast. Yes. I thought you meant other people's podcasts would bury us. I thought you were being very self-deprecating.
Yeah. In the future, when I mean, we don't have any fans now. So we can't have less.
Scientifically, that does add up, yes.
Yes. Anyway, this robot from the future is standing in front of you. We got that far so far.
He's butt naked.
He's butt naked, muscular. His muscles are gleaming. Like, he doesn't look very robotic. He's got some metal parts, but he's mostly humanoid looking.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Robot.
Nathan, I am from 2,000 years in the future.
Did everyone stop wearing clothes 2,000 years in the future?
If you understood quantum... If you had read the DVD, The Theory of Everything, you would know that...
He points at my DVD and says, if you'd actually read the book, you would understand that only sunglasses can travel through time. And I feel very demoralised. I feel demoralised for two reasons. I feel demoralised that I did not read the book, and that the anatomy of this naked robot man in front of me is putting mine to shame.
Yeah, but I mean, it was built. It was
built.
It wasn't.
It was clearly modelled after a horse.
Yeah, it touches the ground.
Honestly, it's the only thing I can focus on. The robot is talking to me, and I'm being very rude because I'm not looking him in the face.
We must act quick, Nathan. You being here is messing with the timelines.
How?
There's no time to explain. And he takes... He takes from, I don't want to say where because he's naked, but he takes out this device.
Oh dear God.
And he hands it to you. And
I don't want to touch that.
You must, Nathan.
I get some tissue and I grab it.
The entire universe depends on you taking this immediately. And he hands you the box.
Okay, I take the device that was produced from God only knows where. Yes, what is it? What is this?
This box will hide you, Nathan. If you press the green button, it will take you 100 years into the past. But if you press the red, it will take you 100 years into the future. The choice is yours, but you cannot be here now. You must leave. Decide. And that is your choice for this episode, Nathan. You need to choose whether you're going to jump 100 years into the past or 100 years into the future.
Wow. And based solely off of the information this robot has given me.
Yes.
Where he's telling me that my being here is messing with the timelines.
Yeah, that's what he's told you. I mean...
And I can't argue with him because I've not read A Theory of Everything.
No, you have not.
I can't back up the science.
You are a massive poser and he seems to know
I
it.
know, I'm a massive pretender at pretending to care about science.
Yes.
No matter how many seasons of Star Trek I watch, I will never understand real life science.
No.
Okay, so I'm looking at this again, I'm still very distracted by this robot's very well built anatomy.
Yes.
But then I focus on the machine. So, sorry, it's the green button will take me 100 years
Into the past.
into the past, and the red button will take me 100 years into the future. Which
Yes.
would I prefer?
Hmm.
Ooh. So going to the past, 100 years ago,
That would be
which would be the
1902.
1920. No, it'd be the
1902. 100
no, it'd be
years
the
ago.
1920s.
It would be 1902. We're yeah, it would be. Yeah, sorry. No, yeah, you're right.
It's not
What am I talking about?
2002, Kyle.
What? What
20
happened?
years have passed. What have you been doing?
What have I done with my life? 20 years have passed. I've wasted so many years.
You stepped out to get a packet of crisps, and then you returned in 20 years.
Suddenly 20 years have gone by.
Oh my god! Yes, it would be the 1920s. I would go back to the Roaring Twenties,
You would indeed. I
the
apologise. You are
famously
correct.
fun decade.
Yes.
Oh boy!
Whereas if you went into the future, you would be in the. I'm not going to say it because I'm sure I'll be wrong.
The 2120s.
The 2120s. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's right.
Okay.
See, me smarter than me look. Even though and that proves I read A Fear of Everything, because I can add 100 to something. But because you haven't even read the DVD, you can't even minus 100.
No, I haven't. I haven't even laid eyes on the cover.
Exactly. Okay, so going back to the 1920s, I would be at the dawn of like the Industrial Revolution. You know, cars were coming into existence. Like massive industries were being designed. There is I could. I mean, well, obviously the idea about going to the past is that you could introduce things that already exist and become massively successful and rich.
Yeah.
The only problem is, while I exist in this time, I don't understand how anything works.
That is a problem.
I could not invent the television like 10 or 20 years before it was invented, because I don't really understand how wires make pictures and sound appear from one location to another.
Yes, you also would have no home, no money.
No, you're right. I don't even carry cash on me, but if I did, it wouldn't be admissible anywhere.
No, they wouldn't understand.
Like, I know, if like I may have 20 quid on me, and back then that was worth a lot of money, but it's different notes. No bank would accept it.
They wouldn't understand what it was. Yeah, this is plastic. This is toy money.
Oh, so it would be tricky,
Yeah.
but I could use my knowledge of the future to my benefit. If I think about certain things that I know. Okay, so what could I do? What could I do if I went back into the past? I'm trying to think right off because I have to press this button immediately. I can't prepare, so I have to act off of what I immediately know about the 1920s.
And the only thing you can take with you is your sunglasses.
Yes. Right, you're right. I have to turn up in the 1920s naked with sunglasses.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. I mean, talking about going back to the elephant in the room, Carl, there is just one massive neon sign flashing over my head right now of something to look out for if I went back to the 1920s.
And what would that be?
It's Nazis, Nazis, just blaring over my head. Like we are about 10 years away from the Nazis rising to power.
But could I
prevent it?
Yeah, could you do what people have theorized about?
Well, he wouldn't be a baby then.
No, he wouldn't.
He would be at least in his 20s, so it's less morally questionable to kill someone before they've done something wrong. And I'm sure by then he'd done nasty stuff. I think I'd be more comfortable killing him, but I'd have to. I'm assuming when I travel back in time, I'm in the location I'm in right now. So I'd be in the UK in the 1920s.
You would.
And I'd be naked with sunglasses. So I would then have to travel to Germany, locate Adolf Hitler, and again, based off of my knowledge of history, try and figure out which one of the 100 German towns he lives in.
Yes.
And also, I don't know if that, you have multiple John Smiths. There might have been multiple Adolf Hitlers in Germany in the 1920s.
There may have been.
I might kill the wrong one.
Yeah, I mean, and also then you've got to try and hide. You've done a murder. You would have to try
I've
and
done a
hide it.
murder. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, forensics aren't what they are now back then, but still,
That's a sentence.
yeah.
Forensics aren't what they are now back then.
Let's
But
move.
yes, you're
Let's move
right.
away from this. Let's move to the future. What do you think? A
I mean,
hundred
I
years
can't.
in the future.
What I can't even imagine. 100 years in the future, obviously, we would all be. It would be the future from Wally. We would all be giant, fat guys on flying chairs. Little robots would be doing everything for us,
Possibly, possibly.
and I would be the. Suddenly, I would appear naked with sunglasses. But
Yeah.
because the whole human race has turned into the fat, ugly, lazy slobs, I would be the fittest man in the world.
If that is the case, if that is what the future holds, you would be the most handsome man in the future. Yes.
And I'd be walking around and I'd be like, hey, look, I can just about see over my belly to my penis. And all the men would be like, oh, and applaud.
They would
I'm
indeed.
imagining they'll be applauding like seals. The human race has also forgotten how to speak by 100 years in the future.
Yes, and that hands and arms are obsolete. They've just grown into flippers.
Yes, yeah. You just need the two bits to press buttons on a TV and on your phone.
Yeah. Oh no,
Um,
phones will be obsolete. It'll all be in the brain.
it'll be everyone's wearing Google glasses.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that kicked off massively 100 years in the future.
It took about 80 or 90 years to catch on, but yeah.
It's not actually advanced technology. It's literally the Google Glass tech they invented a couple of years back. It just took a while for the market to pick up.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'd be 100 years in the future. Obviously, I wouldn't have knowledge of the future to influence anything, but I mean, depending, we're saying that the human race may have become fat giant slobs. They could also have, everyone could have been killed in a nuclear dystopia. The
They,
world could be overrun by zombies. Whatever horrible thing has happened,
mm,
I would have the advantage of I've not been through that. So I would be the one person in the world who doesn't have radiation poisoning, or I'd be the one person in the world who hasn't been turned into a mindless zombie
but
or a cyborg serving the grand computer, the grand calculator.
but if something like COVID has evolved and mutated and has a brand new strain, you would not be vaccinated. You would turn up in the future. Everyone else there's fine.
I mean, I could also reintroduce it. It could have been
You could.
destroyed by then, and because I might have it or have had it and particles still exist, I've reintroduced it. So I could destroy the future.
You could, but you could also destroy the past. You could bring COVID forward. Gee,
Oh,
back
this
in
is
the
brilliant. This is
20s.
fantastic. Well, see, that's the thing. Then that's where how I'll kill Hitler. Bring COVID to Germany
The
and
pro-
kill millions of innocent people. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. The problem is, Nathan,
I'm a hero.
back then we didn't have the scientific advancements that we have now, so they wouldn't come up with vaccines for years.
Oh man.
The world would be wiped out.
Yeah. So this is fun. I'm glad that we're doing
Yeah.
this. I'm glad that this big naked robot is forcing me to do this.
But let's say you aren't currently riddled with COVID, because you might not
Yes,
be. Who
I
knows?
might not be. No.
You would be able to either visit your descendants in the past, the Wozniaks of the past, or the Wozniaks of the future.
Ooh, now that is interesting.
Hmm.
It would be the Wozniaks of the past would not have been in this country 1920s. So
Ah.
I would have to go to Poland and find them.
And
Um,
with no money
and no
or
clothes, as we've
clothes,
established, just sitting naked on a boat.
yeah, that might
I'll
be.
just turn up at the docks and be like, I'll do anything to get on that boat. Anything.
You'll be like, let me on, or I'm gonna thumb you. And
Um,
that's a new concept back in the 1920s. They
yeah,
would be
people didn't use their
terrified.
thumbs for anything back
No,
then. They would just.
I don't think we'd grown thumbs by that point.
No,
We
you're
just had the
right.
four
Yes,
fingers.
the thumb was invented in 1936. I remember reading about it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
The Theory of Everything.
Oh yeah, on the blurb.
Because that book is about everything.
Yeah, well, I assume so. I would be
Yes, of course.
disappointed if it wasn't.
Naturally, I mean that's what I assume that the book is about, based off of reading the DVD cover or based off of the book.
Yeah, and looking at the look on his face on the cover.
The look on the face of the person that isn't the person that wrote the book, but the person that is acting like he is the person that wrote the book. Yes, based off of that information and that information only, I assume that
Yes.
The Theory of Everything is a book about everything, and not the name of a movie that is not the name of the book. But I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the book right now, even though I swear I've read it.
Believe what you will, listeners. Believe what you will.
But yes. But yes, it'll be tricky. Either way, it is really difficult because I've either gone back in time to when I'm going back to where I have no resources, I have no mobile phone, no technology, no internet, no money, or I'm going into the future where phones and technology and internet works, but it's now I am a man out of time and I can't figure out how to use any of it. It would be really tricky. I think on reflection, though, going to the past would mean having to deal with old-timey problems, and also again the giant neon flashing sign of Nazis, Nazis going off in my brain constantly, just reminding me that at some point something bad's going to happen and somehow I have to stop it, even though I'm a naked man with sunglasses. Somehow, I and I alone can prevent World War II, but I don't know how, because I can't remember enough about history to know where I should go in 1920. Whereas if I went to the future, I would not have that hanging over me. I would be able to, depending on what's happened, I would be able to provide. I would be a figure of international interest if I could. I'm assuming with the technology that I have then, they'd be able to carbon date me and prove that I'm from the past. So I would be revered. I'd be able to tell everyone about what happened 100 years ago. And again, based off of my lack of paying attention to modern affairs, I would wildly misinform people about what 100 years ago was like. Ah, yes, we all were around on hoverboards, being chased by Biff. When I remember going to see Jaws 4, I'd just be remembering movies and describing that as the real world.
And they had this park where they had recreated dinosaurs.
Oh my god! Well, and then a businessman would go, now that's an idea. I'll see dollar signs flash in his eyes.
They would invent a real Jurassic World.
Oh yes, because all the movies and all the culture that I've experienced, possibly from like the wars or like the mega cyborg COVID that's wiped out half the Earth by then.
Cyborg COVID.
Because any of those things that's happened, they've lost all these old DVDs and movies. DVDs, like that's what people watch nowadays. So I'd be able to talk about all these things from movies as if they were actually what happened.
Yes. So is that what you're going for?
I think, on reflection, I'm pressing the red button and I'm traveling 100 years into the future.
And as you travel, you heard the robot say, "Goodbye, Nathan Smith."
What?
And
No!
and you teleported.
Yes, and indeed that's where I'm communicating with you from, Kyle. I'm using the future technology as explained. If you've read The Fear of Everything, you'd understand how sending a video message back in time would work. It's simple, and obviously because I travelled in time, I have to be naked all the time, which is why I'm naked right now wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I'm sure you did.
I don't think that once you're in the future, you
No,
have to remain.
I'm never allowed to wear clothes again.
You're sure?
Well, and also the 100 years from now, the entire planet has become a nudist beach.
The entire planet. It's just got very sandy somehow. Volleyballs are in abundance.
Oh yes, I'm about to go play naked volleyball right now, Carl. You want me to, I can take the. Oh, I was going to say take the laptop. It's actually a implant in the. I'm actually talking to a Kyle clone that I've created to hang out with me when you're not around. And there's just a camera in his eye.
Fantastic.
So me and your naked clone are going to go play volleyball together.
have fun. I mean, but first, shouldn't we talk about my week, or should we just skip
Oh,
that?
right, yeah, I guess, I'm so used to hanging out with your clone, who's honestly more interesting than you'll ever be. That talking to you, Carl, is actually a downgrade. But well, I suppose I should do the charity because being in the future, I now know what's about to happen in 2022, and well, I think it's just a kindness that I spent a little time with you before those zombie dinosaurs from Mars buy the Earth.
Do they get it for a steal? I mean, who actually would want to buy the Earth?
Yeah, actually, you're right. It is. It's very unmarketable. They
Yeah,
they really made a bad financial decision.
yeah, it's
But
kind
we
of
were sold.
screwed.
We were sold off to a mega corporation, and they built over the planet.
Well, yeah, to make
The
the
world
nudist
not
beach
only is
colony.
exactly yes. That's where all the sand came from. They pulled it's space sand.
Space sand.
Cool. Throw this word space in front of anything, and it makes it sciencey,
Space
as
dog.
explained in the theory of everything.
Space turtle.
Mm.
Space egg.
Space rice.
Mm.
Space cream egg.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't know the magic, Carl, of a space cream egg,
no,
and you
I
never
wish I
will
did.
because you're dead by now. In fact, I've dug up your corpse, and I've got it hanging out with me as well. This is your skeleton, Kyle.
You have
Say hello.
you have my skeleton and you have a clone of me.
Oh yes. How do you think I cloned you? I got the DNA off your skeleton.
Of course you did. Even though I specifically said in my will I wanted to be cremated, but looks like no one.
Yes, your family very specifically did not honour your wishes.
Not at all.
So yeah, I think it's considering what I know was about to happen to you. I think it's only kind that I spend a little more time with you and tell you what's happened to you recently, Kyle.
Please do.
Now, recent for you, for me, it was over 100 years ago. But you are comfortable. Were comfortable and tight and snug, lying in your bed one night. The gentle wave of sleep passes over you, and you drift to a peaceful sleep. Yes.
Beautiful. Serene.
Everything is fine, Kyle. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing but the warm duvet, the comfortable pillow. And then you awake in a bright, shiny room and you're strapped to a metal table.
What's happened here?
Yes, you are strapped, and you too are naked, strapped to a table.
My God, I've travelled through time.
No, Carl, because you don't have sunglasses. Think it through, man.
I look around. No, my sight, it's too clear.
Well, it's not very clear actually, because there is a huge bright light shining into your eyes from the ceiling, and your head is strapped facing forward. You can't look away. It illuminates the whole room. In the corner, just in your peripheral vision, you can see a machine in the corner of the room, a large apparatus with a pointing direct towards you, like a large laser or drill or something of that nature. Obviously, you don't know what it is because you didn't read A Theory of Everything and you just don't understand science. And as you're looking around and as you're being blinded by the light, a figure comes into view. In between the blinding light stands a man you never expected to see again. A man that, well, you killed,
A man
but you
I
didn't,
killed?
because it wasn't in this reality. It is Professor Herbert Maddington, the professor that in another life transformed you into the strongest being in the universe, but then you accidentally killed him.
Professor Maddington, how is this
It's you.
possible?
I've seen you in my dreams. They all told me I was mad. He points over to a corner of the room where there are 5 skeletons of what look like a family. There's a skeleton woman wearing pearls, big puffy blue hair, a small baby with a spiky skull, and a dead dog skeleton.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they said I was mad, but I wasn't. I wasn't. I knew it was true. I've seen you in my dreams. I saw you in my dreams. You killed me. But no,
I did, Herbie, but
it's Herbert, you barbaric barbarism. I will get my revenge. My ray of transmogrification will irradiate your cells and curse you with a hideous transformation that will occur whenever aroused or whenever you have to yawn.
Excuse me? I
Yes, either you transform me into a mutated, pussing blob that belches acid whenever aroused, or you will turn inside out whenever you have to yawn. And he reaches for the button, the button that can either switch one or two ways, either towards the green position that will turn you
Yes.
into a mutated, pussing blob that belches acid whenever aroused, or will turn you inside out whenever you have to yawn. You only have a moment to decide, Kyle. What is your choice?
So I've also been given a green or red button
You have
choice.
indeed.
How strange that we both get very similar things happen to us during a week.
It is very strange indeed, Kyle.
But yes, I remember being completely terrified by either scenario and having to think quickly on my feet. I'll go through what I was thinking at the time. I yawn a lot because I am a very tired person. Even, like, I could sleep 9 hours and still be yawning by midday.
Yes, and have you ever tried not to yawn? I mean, I'm thinking about yawning now because we're talking about yawning.
Yeah, it's actually, you do want to just.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
whenever you see someone yawn, you feel an almost irresistible urge to.
Hmm.
Yes. So, well, yes.
And every time I yawn, I will be turned inside out.
Yes.
For how
You're
long do we know, or
um,
just forever?
not forever. No, it is
No.
a Jekyll and Hyde style transformation, or a Hulk style transformation. For those of you less literate than me, obviously reading all my books, like A Theory of Everything, and
Oh, have you read that? Have you, The Theory of
yeah,
Everything? You hadn't mentioned.
I've read the book A Theory of Everything.
Yeah.
I've read RoboCop.
Hmm.
I've read Apple Pie.
The Hungry, Hungry Caterpillar.
The Hungry. That's actually a book, Kyle. That counts. 100 years in the future, that's the only book that survived the apocalypse. We've now based our entire society around the Hungry Caterpillar. All praise the Hungry Caterpillar. Yes.
That's like a historical document now. That's
Exactly.
people praise that. That is like high class reading.
But I see you trying to change the subject, Kyle. Whenever, like, trying not to yawn when someone yawns around you, or even just talks about being tired, is very difficult not to do. But yes, you will turn inside out for about an hour.
Okay. Now, the process of me turning inside out, that sounds very, 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 very painful.
Oh yes, I mean, as Professor Herbert Maddington would explain to you, yes, it would be very, very painful. First, your eyeballs will pull inside your brain, and then your skin will suck into your skeleton. Your skull will pop out, and all your organs will be on the outside.
It would make me very vulnerable. Say I was
Oh
walking
yes.
down the street and a bird saw this. It would think, oh, intestines, that looks like a nice long worm. I'll dive down and peck at that.
Yes, indeed.
I could be walking along the street, a nice dog could see me, think, oh, some meat, and run away with my kidney.
Yes, they could indeed.
And say I were just sitting down in general is going to be very painful, like the outside of my organs pressing up against the back of a chair, my gluteus maximus. What do you have in your bottom? What would be inside out?
Oh, God, if only you'd read A Fear of Everything, Carl, you'd know what's in your bottom.
Yeah,
No,
unfortunately, I
I mean
have not
obviously
read.
your anus would now be inside of you,
Okay.
as would be your ball sack.
Hmm.
So actually, it might be more comfortable to sit down,
Yeah, it would just.
although they might feel slightly crushed because they're inside your muscles.
Okay, this is I'm not liking this. So what was the other option?
The
Every
other option is
time.
whenever you're aroused, you will
Hmm.
mutate into a pussing blob that belches acid.
See, again, I am aroused very often. Right
Mm.
now, just having this conversation with you, I'm starting to get a little aroused.
Well, of course, there's all those naked people playing volleyball on the beach planet behind me.
Yes, and your elephant has started to strip.
Strange that it was wearing clothes to begin with.
Yes, in this naked world,
Yes.
elephants are the only things that
Oh
do
yes, no,
wear.
all humans are naked now. All animals must wear clothes. Ironically,
Yes,
a law was passed for some reason.
a few years
A
back, you
law
got.
that somehow applies to animals.
Hmm.
The future is strange. That's all I have to say, Carl. But yes,
But yeah, I could be watching TV, get aroused. You see a mayonnaise advert or something.
you get out your box of Captain Crunch, and that he looks damn good in his navy uniform.
Exactly. So I get aroused, I would say, 30 to 40 times a day. So every time I will turn instantly into this giant ball of slime, vomit acid, and then I guess turn back.
Yes, exactly. But again, it would be like maybe the transformations can last for different amounts of time. Actually, it could be for 30 minutes. It could be for an hour. It could be even longer. It depends on how long. It depends on how long it takes for you to become unaroused. Same with the yawning. If you still feel you have to yawn, you will remain inside out.
I see.
So you kind of have to recover from that feeling before you can transform back.
Yeah. Now I've thought of something. If I turn into this thing every single time I'm aroused, I can never consummate a relationship with anyone.
I mean, you could. You would just have to do it as
As
a mutated pussing blob that belches acid.
I would have to find a very special person that would sleep with me after turning into something like that.
Yes, it would have to be one hell of a dating profile you've created for yourself.
Yeah, it would have to be someone who says like I don't looks do not matter to me in any way, shape or form.
You've put
Maybe
on your profile, ideal partner, must like dogs, must like cheese, and must not mind me turning into a giant vicious blob and spewing acid all around you.
yeah. Must like dogs, must like cheese, must be blind. I mean that would help.
It would. I mean, they'd still have to feel the mutated pussing blob. And then
Pussing
there's
as well,
there's
yeah.
the acid. While consummating the relationship,
Yes.
you would have to make sure not to belch acid onto their face.
Yes, I would. I would have to. So whilst making sweet, passionate love to my partner, I would
While
have to
making
turn
sweet, passionate consummation.
consummation. I would have to turn my head away from them and be belching over the side of the bed or
Exactly. You would say to them,
bath or
"You look
whatever.
beautiful, my dear." Obviously, in mutated blob language. So, "You look beautiful, my dear." And then you turn away and belch onto the wall.
Yeah. See, okay, so yawning, I turn inside out, but I can still sort of do things. I can't see, I guess, if my eyes
You
have gone
can't see. Your eyes
inside.
are inside your skull. Yes. Your
So,
ears are inside your skull. So actually, it's kind of a nightmare. You can't see or hear. And
wow.
also, all of your skin is underneath your skeleton, so you can't
Yeah,
feel anything.
I
You're in
can't
a
feel.
sensory deprivation nightmare.
I can't speak. My lips have
Oh
been
my!
sucked inwards.
I did not anticipate how terrible this would be. But yes,
Yeah,
this would be really terrible.
I am deaf, blind, and dumb.
You're deaf, blind, dumb, and mute.
Okay.
So you couldn't do anything.
I couldn't
Wow.
do anything, or any time I get aroused, I become a horrible blob. Well, yeah, this is definitely a punishment.
You have just a few seconds until Professor
Oh yes,
Maddington's
yes.
thumbs the button.
Well, Professor, I mean,
Yes. What is your choice?
because it wouldn't make much difference to my sexual partners anyway, because usually I get told that being with me is like being with a sweaty, disgusting,
Yes,
pus-filled
I've been
blob.
told by every single one of your wives that
Yeah.
making love to you was an ordeal. That you kept asking them to dress up like a block of cheese, and you kept salivating, going, "Yes, you're very cheesy."
And I would paint myself to look like a big piece of chalk, because chalk and
Chalk and
cheese.
cheese.
Nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
That is my fantasy anyway. And then, yes, I would just get, for some reason, I would just get extremely sweaty.
Yeah, before anything's happened, before any physical exertion, the
Yeah.
moment the moment you take off your clothes, you're sweating buckets.
I'm completely dripping. There's a puddle around me.
You look like a nervous politician, is what you
Yeah,
look.
I haven't told anyone on the podcast this, but my body is covered in pustules and they just ooze constantly. So it wouldn't be much of a leap to become
No,
this
but you
thing. It's
don't
just
belch acid.
I don't belch acid. No, I've been told that my breath could knock out a horse, but
You have burped in the middle of lovemaking.
oh, definitely. I mean, I try to. I think it's erotic. And then I burp and then breathe it into their face.
You look them in the face. You go, "I have something I must tell you, my dear," and then you burp right into their face.
Yeah, and I make sure that I haven't showered or brushed my teeth for at least a month before.
Oh, of course, you need
consummation.
maximum impact.
Yes. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for the green button, I believe it was, and become this acid belching monster.
If that's your choice, then it shall be. And for some reason, lightning strikes in the background as he presses the button, and
Maybe someone was time traveling outside.
maybe actually, yes.
That was you teleporting into the future.
Yeah, we have had a new neighbour move in just next door to Mr. Winters. A mysterious new neighbour has moved in, and he had a lot of equipment. I remember him bringing in.
Yeah, that could be him. Yeah.
So there was a big lightning strike in the background, as possibly someone was sent back in time naked with sunglasses, or it's sent forward in time naked with sunglasses. I apologise, but yes, you are struck with these rays, and immediately, because of course you're strapped to a table. It's a very kinky situation. You
And
were
I'm
already
naked.
aroused.
I was so aroused.
You immediately turn into a mutated pussing blob, and of course you belch acid over Herbert Maddington. So he's dead again.
He's going to come back another time.
This is the second time you've killed him in two different realities.
You know what they say? Third time's a charm. So I've got at least one more in me.
Yeah.
Poor Maddington.
Indeed, poor Maddington. And this time he was more Maddington than ever.
He was. So there you go. If anyone else in the world finds themselves in these situations, you know what to do. We've given you the correct answers.
Indeed, you should always travel forward in time rather than backwards.
Yes.
And always remember to bring your sunglasses with you, otherwise you'll be naked.
Exactly. And always remember to become a giant, slimy, pus-filled blob monster that spews acid, rather than turning your body inside out.
Yes, indeed. But mainly because, as we established, being inside out is actually a conceptual nightmare.
It is absolutely terrifying.
Yes, your eyes are inside, your ears are inside, your mouth is inside. You can't see, hear, talk, smell.
No,
it's horrific.
Yeah, that sounds like the most horrible thing ever. Like, being the blob thing doesn't affect me; it only affects other people.
Yes. I mean, you're still you, Carl. You could still, watch TV or read a book. Obviously, you have to be aroused to be in that form, so you have to keep a constant state. If you want to remain the pus-filled monster, you would have to be in a constant state of arousal.
As I say, most things arouse me, Nathan.
Yeah, which is why, of course, speaking to you now, I'm speaking to you from the future using the future science explained in the Theory of Everything.
Have you read that, Nathan?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you never mentioned.
But and you, of course, are. I'm currently speaking to a giant pussing blob. You have melted the camera a few times.
Yes, I just doing a podcast. It's one of my biggest turn-ons. Just thinking about the 3 listeners out there sitting down to listen to my voice.
Thinking about every single one of you.
So that's a lovely note to leave the listeners on, isn't it?
That's a lovely note to disturb and horrify our listeners, especially because I just remembered that at least one member of my family listens to this. So, yes, let's not explore this any further. Yes,
well, I'm going to go and buy the Theory of Everything so I can be as intelligent as Nathan.
Good luck. It's a very unarousing thing, so I don't think you're going to get through it.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll just go get a thumb job instead.
Yes. Whereas I'm going to go play naked volleyball on the space sand.
Fantastic. I can see a twinkle in your space eye.
And of course, the volleyball is a hologram.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't
Because
expect it any other way.
science. It wouldn't make any sense if you're in the future. Why would you use a normal ball 100 years in the future?
Fantastic. So, yeah, enjoy, Nathan, and I will possibly see you next week in the future.
Yes, indeed. You may see me once again, Kyle. I will continue to visit until the great calamity.
This has been If You Had To, though. I have been a slimy, pus-filled person named Kyle who occasionally turns into a slime monster and belches acid.
And I have been a man ahead of his time, Nathan Wozniak. Or, Nathan Smith, apparently.
If you enjoyed the show, then please follow and subscribe to the podcast on Patreon. You can find it at patreon.com/ifyouhadtothough. And you can follow me on Twitter at Kyle M. Bennett. That's Kyle_M_Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's.
And you can find me at N Wozniak Art. That's N for Nathan, WOZNIAK, and then how you spell art. And you can find me on Instagram at Nathan Wozniak. Obviously, all my posts will be from the future, mostly me playing naked volleyball. So enjoy.
Oh, we will. Oh no, I'm becoming aroused, Nathan. No, I'm going to turn.